Hey guys! In today's video, we're going to be doing a different type of video. So we're going to be actually doing hand tracking in Python using the webcam. So it should be able to track your hands, find all the landmarks, and then point them out. So let's get into this video because it is going to be an interesting one. So what are we going to do in today's video? So first of all, I'll introduce the module we're going to be working with, which is called MediaPipe, created by Google. Then I'll introduce what hand tracking is and how we're going to be implementing it today. Then we'll check out today's program and all of the parts of the demo. Then we'll get straight into the demo, in which first we'll do all the installations for MediaPipe, OpenCV, and all the other modules we're going to be using. Then we'll first of all do the video input, algorithm, and then the output, which should look something like this. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's introduce MediaPipe and hand tracking itself. So MediaPipe is the module that we're going to be working with in today's video. So like I said before, it's a software library that's completely open source and free, and it provides very detailed documentation on what it does. It's created by Google, and it's basically a machine learning module. But this one includes lots of different source codes and algorithms, which we'll include in many future videos. So these kind of models include hand detection, pose detection, hair classification, all that kind of stuff. And it is very interesting. So let's check it out right now. So here I have the MediaPipe documentation. And by the way, all of these links will be in the description down below, including this one. So this is the MediaPipe documentation. And then here, if you scroll down, first of all, you can see all the solutions, like for example, it has all of the code. And then if you press getting started, then it helps you out with all of that stuff. But what I'm talking about right now is the ML solutions, or the machine learning solutions. So MediaPipe provides you with step-by-step instructions and code for all of these. So first of all, we have face detection. It's pretty simple. It just detects the face and then all the face landmarks. So then for face mesh, now it takes it a step further. So it takes all of the different landmarks on your face and then points them out. Then we have iris detection, which as you can see on this little girl's face, you can see it has all the landmarks of the eyes and points them out. Then we have hands, which is the most popular and what we're going to be working with today. So it should produce this kind of output. Then we have pose detection and holistic detection. So the difference between pose and holistic is that holistic is a little bit more realistic, and pose detection just gets the actual poses. Then we have hair segmentation, which if you didn't know, this guy's hair wasn't actually purple. It changed that by itself, and you can do many different colors too with MediaPipe. Then we have very simple object detection and box tracking, then instant motion tracking, and Objectron, which just basically creates a cube around your object, and then NIFT, which actually sees what the object is and then produces some text here. And MediaPipe supports a lot of different platforms. Like for example, you can see all of the platforms it supports. So we have Android, iOS, C++, Python, JS, and Coral. So let's check it out. Alright, so now that we know all about MediaPipe, which is the module we're going to be using, let's check out what hand tracking is. So hand tracking is basically a solution that if you need to see your hand landmarks, then that's what it does. So MediaPipe's hand tracking is very high accuracy, and it uses machine learning and MediaPipe's algorithms. And basically there's 21 different landmarks on your hand. So like for example, we have this part, this part, this part, this part, and then this part, this part, this part, this part, and then all of that for all of them, and then you can see your palm. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts for each of your fingers, and then there's the palm also. So then let's check out all of those hand landmarks. And by the way, they're all numbered. So for example, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it all has a ID also. So that's what that is. And those are all the different hand landmarks that MediaPipe's module uses to do hand tracking. And then it points out each of those landmarks. So it gets, first of all, the landmarks of your hand, but it also gets the depth of them too, which goes even more in depth. So let's check out what we're going to do in today's demo. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just install all of our modules, which the two main modules we're going to be using is MediaPipe, like I talked about before, and OpenCV to do our video and actually drawing the marks. So we're going to do the installation of the modules, and I'm also going to use a virtual environment because MediaPipe has older and newer versions, so it's simpler to just do it in a virtual environment, otherwise it might not work. So then we're going to do all the camera stuff in OpenCV, and the first output we're just going to have is just showing our camera input on the screen. Then we'll do the actual detection, which is the hand tracking, and the landmarks, that'll get it in the detection module. And then finally, we'll get the final output, which is, if I wave around my hand, then it should have all of the landmarks and it should keep on following it. So, let's get into the demo. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to Atom, and here we have our tracker.py, which is the code that I'm going to be using today. And then we'll do our imports, but here I also have another file called handtrackermodule.py. And then this is just the model, this is just the MediaPipe model, and I'll have all of this in GitHub. If you need this handtrackermodule.py, I'll have it in GitHub. And this is just basically the model that we're going to be using, so that first of all it finds all of the landmarks and then it puts it on the screen, and then see, as you can see, it has all of this stuff. So that's that. And we're going to be using this module into our code, so we're going to need to import that into our code. So we're just importing it as a config file. So let's just import that. Import hand tracking module. Oh, hand tracker module. And then we'll just do it as HM for hand module. Or you can just hand tracker module. Yeah, HTM. Okay, next thing we want to do is import CV2, which is OpenCV, and then import time. And then we'll do MediaPipe later. Alright, so then we're going to go to terminal, and here I'm in the same folder that I have my Python program in. So to create a virtual environment, which is what we're going to be using to store all our modules in, I'm going to say python3 -m venv for virtual env, which is environment, and then whatever you want to call it. In this case, I'll call mine env. And then here in our file structure, this is the same thing. As you can see, it just created env just now. And then now, whatever modules we pip install, then it should be in env lib python 3.9 site packages. Then whenever we pip install something, it should get there. But we need to activate this so that it actually goes inside. So to activate it, I'm going to say source, and then whatever it's called, in this case mine is called env/bin/activate. And it's generally a good practice to do this for any Python project that you're going to be working on, just so that all of the modules you do get updated and stay in the same version. But you don't have to, but in some cases it's needed, like for example MediaPipe. So now if you can see in site packages, it's still the same. But now if we pip install some modules, so let's say I pip install OpenCV Python, then let's just wait for that to happen. And then as you can see, first of all, it's downloading NumPy, and then it should install OpenCV Python also. Okay, so okay, so that's done. Now if we go back here, then you can see we have CV2, OpenCV Python, and NumPy. So there we go, that worked. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our code, and first thing we're going to do, and then we're going to actually do the camera setup. So I'm going to do mine in two variables. So we have wcam and hcam for the width and height. So I'm going to say wcam and then hcam equals, and then we have the width and height. So here we have 640 by 480. That's just going to be my resolution for now. And then here we'll just do the video capture. So I'm going to call that cap. This is just like standard code for OpenCV to get the video from the webcam and then show it back to us. This is standard code. So cap equals cv2.videoCapture. And then most of the times if you're going to be doing video capture, it's always going to be this kind of code. So yeah, and then 0 because we're not doing any external webcam. But if you have an external webcam, you would just say 1. But in this case, mine is 0. Okay, so then we're going to say cap.set And then we need to set the different wcam and hcam, which we just initialized here. So 3 and wcam, and then 4 and hcam. So cap.set 4 and hcam. All right. So then after that, we're going to, now we have all the variables set up, but now we want to actually read what the video capture has and then process that and then push it back to us. Because now it's just getting input, but we need the output of what it's showing us. So I'm going to use a while loop for that. All of the time, whenever you're doing OpenCV video capture, it's always going to be a while loop. So I'm going to make 2 more, success and image. And then the image variable is always just, so the success variable is for the success, and then the image variable is to get the output. So we're going to say cap.read, we're going to add the read function to that. And then we're going to say img equals, which is image equals, and then we're going to just, and then now that we've, now that we've initialized that, now we just want to push that back to us. So I'm going to say cv2.im show, and then that'll just show whatever we want. And then let's call the window, we can call the window whatever we want, but it's generally good practice to say image, and then img, which is just our cap.read. So now it should show our thing back to us. So I'm going to say cv2.waitKey is 1. Alright, so let's just test this out. So I'm going to go to terminal, and oh, what happened? Okay, clear. Alright, so I'm going to go to terminal so that we can run this. And right now, like I said, it should just get the camera input and then show it back to us, whatever is on the webcam. So let's just run this by saying Python 3, and then whatever your file name is. In my case, it's called tracker.py. Then let's run that. And it should open up a new window which has the video. So let's see this. Yeah, okay, so here you can see that it has this video. And then whatever I do, then it shows that. And then you can see down here I have my face, and then here I have the same thing. So there you go. That worked. And now if I do Control-C, then it'll just go away. Alright, so that's the first part of hand tracking. Actually, it isn't hand tracking yet, but it's just getting the video input. Next up, now we have to do the hand tracking. So here I'm going to import hand tracking module as HTM, just so that I can use it for hand tracking. And then now we're going to initialize a couple variables so that we can actually do the hand tracking. So first of all, we need to get the hand, or we need to detect any hands that are in the camera view. So for example, let's say I put my hand out like this. It needs to see and recognize that, hey, this is a hand. So first we're just going to store that in a variable. Let's call this, we'll call it hand detector. Hand detector. And then we'll say HTM because that's the hand tracking module. So HTM dot hand detector. And then if you and then this hand tracking module, that's just the same thing as the model that I already installed. And again, that's going to be in the link in the description below. Alright, so HTM.handDetector, that's a function to detect hands. And then detection con, the only parameter we need is the confidence. So I'm going to say detection con. Oh, why is that outside the parentheses? Okay. So detection con equals, and then what I'm going to do is 0.75. So it's not too confident, it's not too less confident. So like I said, the function is called hand detector, and if we go to our model, which is handtrackingmodule.py, then you can see we even have the function here, hand detector. And then you can see that's all what it's going to do. It's just going to find the hands, all that. So that's the hand detector variable. But next, we want to actually show that back to us, because now it's just storing all the hands that it finds into the variable. So now we want to actually show that back to us. So we want that output that shows all the lines. So I'm going to edit that img here, and then we're going to say img equals, and then we're going to use our hand detector hand detector variable, and then we're going to say dot find hands, because we want to find all of the hands inside of a certain thing. So if you're doing it with a static image, then here you would say hand detector dot find hands and then your image. But since we want to get all of the hands with whatever's in the webcam, I'm going to use our img variable, because here you can see img is cap.read, which is just the webcam input. So it's going to find all of the hands in img, and then it'll just store it in the img variable. But now what we want to do is we want to know where the hands are and then show them back to us. So how can we do that? We need to use another function called find position so that we can see where the hands are, what position in img they are, and then we can show them back to us. So to do that, I'm going to make another variable. I'll call it hands, and then that will be equal to hand detector. Let's see, hand detector variable dot find position. Like I said, we need that find position variable so that we know where the hands are. And then we need to find all of the hands inside of img, because that's where all the hands are. So img and then draw equals false. I'll show you what draw equals true does later, but for now we'll just keep it as false, just for simplicity. And then now what we should do is we'll just show it back to us, and yeah, it should work now. So now what have we done? Well, we imported our hand tracking module, which is just the module for hand tracking, and then we got the hand detector variable, and then inside of our while loop, we created the image variable to find all of the hands inside of the webcam input, and then we're just creating another variable called hands to detect where the hands are, and then drawing them. So let's save this, and then let's go to terminal to run it. So it takes a little bit of time to run, because it has to get the camera started and all that. But here, okay, so python3tracker.py, and then here you go. Okay, so let me go back. And here, okay, it's the same as before, but now if I show my hand, then yeah, there we go. So it shows that the hand is there, and then now even if I move my hand, then it follows my fingers too. So see, if I make a fist, and then if I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it follows my hand like that. And it even works for two hands. So there we go. That worked. That's hand detection in Python. Now to take it one step further, just one last thing. That's all that there is to hand detection using MediaPipe. But if we wanted to take it one step further, we can even see the FPS. But this is completely optional. It has nothing to do with hand detection. But we're just going to show the frames per second so that we can see how fast it is. So after the detection variable, or before it, let's just create a variable. This is standard code to create to see the FPS, but I'm just going to copy that here. So ptime equals 0, and then we're going to change that inside of the while loop. So here, after all of this, we're going to create another variable, ctime, and then that will be equal to time.time. So here we've already imported time up here, and then we're going to say time.time because we need to get the time. And then we're going to create a variable called FPS, and this is what we're going to actually have as the FPS variable. So FPS equals, and then we're going to have our frames per second formula. So the formula is 1 divided by ctime minus ptime. Yes, okay, and then after that we need to change ptime to ctime, because after this whole operation, then we need to convert it back. So ptime equals ctime. Alright, and then after that, what we could do is we can just print FPS actually. Yeah, first we'll just say print FPS, and then save that and run it, okay. And then as you can see, this is the frames per second. It just keeps on calculating that and does it. And we still have the camera input that the hand still works. And then if you do different things with your hands, then it still shows. So there we go. That's how to do hand detection in Python. And just to recap this whole thing, what we did was we have our MediaPipe, and what we did with MediaPipe was we imported it into our hand tracking module.py, and then we made this whole module. We have this module already. And then we did the camera setup. So basically we used OpenCV to get the webcam input and show it back to us. And then we used our hand tracking module.py to find and detect all of the hands and then show them back to us. And by the way, one last little note, if you say draw equals true here, it just makes all the lines a little thicker because it's, first of all, it's regularly drawing, and then if you say draw equals true, then it draws it over again. So that's what that does, but that's just completely optional. So yeah, that's hand tracking in Python using MediaPipe. So that was doing hand tracking in Python using a module called MediaPipe. First of all, we used OpenCV to just get the video input, and then we started tracking our hand, getting each part of the hand and then showing that on the screen. So I will be using MediaPipe to do a lot more videos, and like I showed you, there are a lot more projects that you can do with MediaPipe, which I will be making future videos into. So stay tuned for those. Thanks very much for watching. If y'all had any doubts, please comment down below. I would love to help you out if you're stuck with any Python MediaPipe questions or issues. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Until then, you can learn anything.